Hello everyone. So we are going to solve question number 2 of Statistics May 2025. So let's do this question number 2. So students in class A and class B sit in a statistical test. So this question is based on statistical analysis, and there are total 24 students in class A and 30 students in class B. So the marks obtained by the student X in the class is summarized below. So that is class A having number of student is 24, and then class B number of student is 30, and then their mean value is given by 47. The mean value of B we need to be determined. So that is what the question here we have to show it. And then also sigma x square, that is 66876 and 73826. So this is the data which is given. So let us read the question. So the two classes are obtained in one group of 54 students. The mean marks of all the 54 students is 45. So show that B is 43.4. Okay, so for this particular question, so we need to first analyze the data. Okay, so it is going to be pretty simple. Okay, all right. So we know that what is given first. Okay, let us write down the given. Yep. Okay, so let me make this. Yeah. Okay, so given. So what is given in the question? So first we have for class A. Okay, so for class A, we have given 24 is the data and 47 is the mean. So let us write down, that is NA is equal to 24, and then let's write this is XA, which is 47, and also we will write here NB, that is the number of student in class B is 30, and then what is the average of that class? That will be X bar A and X bar B, which is going to be B. So we don't know, right? So now we know that. So what we have to show that the mean of the marks of all the 54 student is given. So mean is how much? 45. Okay, so that will be 45. So now we will do. So we know that our combined mean formula. What is our combined mean? X bar combined, which is equal to NA XA X bar A plus NB X bar B, the mean of these, divided by total mean, that is NA plus NB. All right. Yes. So this is the combined mean equation. So now we have the combined mean is already given here, which is 45. And then what is our NA? So number of student in class A. So I took it as NA, which is 24 multiplied with what is X bar A, which is the mean of the first class interval, which is 47 plus. So what is the number of student in class B, which is 30. And then what is the number of mean value of class B here, which is going to be X bar B. So which is, we'll take it as B, because which is unknown, and then divided by, so what is the total number of students? So which is going to be NA plus NB. Either we can write 54 or 24 plus 30. So which is going to be 54. So here 45 multiplied with, so when you add them, this will be 54. So I'll just multiply them with 45, which is equivalent to, so that will be, so 24 multiplied with 47 plus 30B. So then I will just write down, which is going to be, so you can directly use the calculator, 45 times 54 minus, so 24 multiplied with 47 upon 30, which is equivalent to B. So then if you use the calculator, right? So the values, let me type it down here. Okay. So 45 times 54 minus, so let me make the calculator little easy calculations. So which will be Okay, 45 minus 45 times 54 minus 24 times 47, and then at the denominator it is 30. When you give equivalents, it is going to be 43.4. Okay, so 43.4 is our B value, which is for 3 significant figures. So which is already we got to know. Okay, all right. Yes, so this is our answer for part B. We have to show that. Okay, so we have to show that. This is the answer for part A. Now we will do part B. Okay. Yes. So what is the question here for part B? So for part B, we will have to, yes, let's look at the question first. Okay, so find the standard deviation of the marks of all the 54 students. Okay, so we know what is our equation for standard deviation. So for all the 54 students, so we have our standard deviation, which is going to be equivalent to the formula from the equation sheet. Okay, so the answer for the part B, so standard deviation. Okay, I'll write down a little faster. Okay, so standard deviation is equivalent to square root of variance. Okay, and then what is our equation for variance? So which is sigma x square upon n minus mean squared. Okay, so let us find out our sigma x square here separately, which is going to be sigma. Okay, so sigma x square total. Okay, so we already know that this is our sigma x a squared, and this is going to be sigma x b squared. So these are the values. So sigma x of total, so this is going to be total. So we are going to write down, so you can look at this will be the total. All right, so what will be this will be sigma of x a squared plus sigma of x b squared. So that will be, what is our sigma of x a is 66,876 plus, so 78 73. Okay, so it is going to be 73,826. Okay, so these if I will multiply, okay, so this will be my sigma of x, so that will give me roughly around, okay, so if I will substitute all the values, okay, so here I'll just directly substitute and make it easy for you. Okay, so instead of calculating there, so we can use the calculator directly. So 66,876 plus 73,826 divided by, so what is n value is 54, right? So total. So we know that total number of student n is 54. We can also say from here n is 54 minus what is our mean value x bar is mean value, which is 45. Okay, this is mean, which is x bar. So which is going to be 45 squared. So after typing down this in the calculator, so let us type it down in the calculator. Yep. So this is going to be square root of 66,876. So you need to know how to use the calculator, right? So that is why I'm showing you here, plus 73,826. If you wanted to fast forward, yes, in this case you can do fast forward. Okay, and then divided by 54, and then minus 45 squared. All right, so when you press equals, you'll get 24.09. You can look at this. So 24.09, I'll round it off to 24.123 significant figure. Okay, so this will be the answer for part B. So what is our answer for part B? The standard deviation will be 24.1. If everything is not clear, just I will Just scroll it down so that you can take down the notes clearly. Yes, I think now it's clearly visible. Take a screenshot and then we can move on to the next question. So this will be our, I'll write it down neat in such a way that you'll never get confused. Okay, so I'll not make my students confused. Okay, so this will be 24.1, which is rounded off to three significant figures. So the part B answer is 24.1. Now let's do part C. In the part C, what is our question? So let us read the question for part C. Yes. So for part C, we have here. So following moderation, each student in class B has their marks increased by 2. So here, each student, so their marks is what? Increased by 2. Increased by 2. So what will? So that is what it means, that their marks is what? Increased by 2. So which is going to be, okay, so let's say marks, if marks is increased by 2, so if already the marks is x, let's say y is equal to x, if the marks is increased by 2, so this is how the equation will be, y is equal to x plus 2. So here they says that only for class B, so which means we have to read the question very well. Each student in class B, okay, so there is class A as well as class B, there is only changes happening in class B, which is going to be plus 2. Okay, so class B has their marks increased by 2. So understand very well. Okay, so which means here YB and XB, which is going to be plus 2. Okay, yes, next. So without any uh, further calculation, which is very important, so we are not going to do any calculation, just we have to give a justification. Okay, giving a reason in each case, the effect this will be on. Okay, so what will happen to the variance for class B, and the mean marks for all 54 students, and then the standard deviation for all the 54 students. So what will, okay, so if you increase the marks by 2, what will be the change in variance? Will the variance change? Number one, will the mean marks will change? Will the standard deviation will change? So that is what the three important reasons that we need to give. Okay, so let's say for part C1. Okay, so variance. So if you write YB is the change in class B, right? So class B, each student in class B has their marks increased by 2. So if YB is equal to XB plus 2, now what will happen to the variance? Okay, variance. Okay, so variance of marks for class B. Okay, so class B is unaffected by adding, okay, by adding to all data, because the variance is unchanged. The reason is you cannot change the variance, okay, even though you add. Okay, so whenever you have addition, right, so there will be the spread in the class, the spreadness of the marks in class B will be unaffected, so there will be no spreadness. Okay, so I hope it is very clear. So if you take a variance, right, so here variance of y is equal to variance of x plus 2. So in that case, there will be no change. That is what I mean to say, spread. Okay, so even though you do any addition to the class B, so the total variance will not get affected. Okay, so because you are just adding number 2. So next, our in the C part 2. So what is our part 2 says? So mean marks of for all 54 students. So here if we are adding 2, okay, let's do that by writing the number. Okay, so what will be our new mean? Okay, so we are not supposed to do calculation, but still I can show you here. So the new mean will be how much? So we, without further calculation, so we are not supposed to do calculation, but we can still show that. Okay, um, without any further calculation. So here we can see it is how much here, if it is here, how much was that? It is, the mean is 45, right? The actual mean is how much? 45, right? So here if you look at it, okay, so we are not supposed to do any calculation, but we can just show that the difference, okay. So okay, if you take sigma y is equal to sigma of x plus 2, right? So there will be increase, okay. So just write the reason. Increase because the average marks in class B, okay. Average marks in class B increases for all the students, for all 54 students will increase. Which means basically if you increase the mean, so earlier what was the mean? It was 43, right? So if you want to show me the calculation, the new mean will be here if you write down, so 24 times 47 multiplied with, so 30 multiplied with 43.4 plus 2 divided by 54. So if you do this calculation, you will get 46.1. So earlier the mean was how much? 45. So 45, and then the difference you can see minus 45 will get change is 1.6, close to that number, right? So that will be 1.1. Yes, so therefore it is, you can see it is increased here, but we are not supposed to do the calculation, but we have to say without calculation, just it says that if you increase the, if you change the mean, it will also increase. That's it. Okay. Yeah. So take the screenshot. So you've taken the screenshot and on to the next question. Yeah. So don't show this to the examiner. Okay. So this is for your understanding. Just you have to write that it is being changed by 1.4. Okay, so I'll show the marking scheme also so that you can understand it very clearly. Yeah. Now we'll see part C. So for part C here, the standard deviation of all the marks of the students are 54. Okay, so what will happen to the standard deviation? So we know that the difference we obtained, okay, so standard deviation will decrease. Okay, so that will be, so we will write down that standard deviation will decrease. Okay, and then the reason that you can write is by adding 2, by adding 2. Okay, so would make the combined, mean, so 45.4, which is close to 45, right? So we got it here. So just if you increase, already the old was 43.4, if you increase by 2, it will be 40.5.4. So the actual mean was this, right? So they give you, this is the actual mean in the question. You can see if you look at the question, so the actual mean is 45, but if you increase by 2, so there is a slight changes for that is by 0.4. So in this case, what will happen? This will be decreased, right? So the actual mean, the standard deviation is will decrease compared to the previous case. So that's what we have to say. So all the data, are less spread, or less spread difference. Okay, so difference. So hence we can say that the variability decreases. Okay, so the variability decreases, and then we can see standard deviation also decreases. So this is the proper reasoning that you must keep. All right, I hope you have understood. So you can see the marking scheme also. So this marking scheme will also say the same here. So the points that you can note down from the marking scheme, you can see, as I mentioned, so B1 is not affected, and then you can see they remain the same. Additionally has no effect, multiplication, variance, and then you can see the total marks increases, mean of the class increases. So just you have to look at the points that how we will obtain the marks for this. Okay, so since it's a theory based question, so but still you must understand how to do this question. Anyway, hope you have understood these questions. Thank you.